We come to the Greek Orthodox. Means that from Europe we are coming to, the Eastern Empire. So far, for the last many weeks, we were completely occupied with the Western Roman Empire. Now we come to the Eastern Roman Empire, the Byzantine world. They called them the Byzantine world, the Greek Orthodox Church. The church had its origin in the East, not in the West. Jesus Christ was not a Westerner. He was not from the Western world, not from the other side of Mediterranean, but from this side of, Mediterranean. It is the Eastern Greek Orthodox Church is the oldest church. The oldest church. It is the only continuous, unbroken church in the world. Everything else was broken. It is still continuing. And from the apostolic days on, it has gone changes, but it's continuing. But to the rest of the Christian world, the Greek Orthodox Church is almost non-existent because things were happening in the West. The Reformation, the Luther, the Calvin, and the Roman Empire. When we speak, we are basically speaking about the Western Roman Empire, and all that. So to the rest of the Christian world, that is now became the Western world. So the Western Christian world, they didn't even remember that. Yeah, there are some Christians there called Greek Orthodox, that sort of. So they have forgotten all about it. There are more than 200 million Greek Orthodox people in the world, today. More than 200 million, that's a good size, There would have been more, but the Muslims, Islam has captured most of their areas, all Palestine gone, Asia Minor gone, Syria gone, Turkey gone, and all those places. They were all the Greek Orthodox people, they were all gone. So they lost a lot of things. But yet we still find Greek Orthodox people in Turkey and Syria and Greek Balkan countries and Russia. There are quite a number. The Eastern Orthodox Church was not affected by all that happened in the Western world. All this Lutheranism and Calvinism and Reformed faith, and nothing came over here. The doctrine of the ecumenical councils of Nicaea, Constantinople, Chalcedon, and what happened in England, none of them affected them. I think most of them never knew what was happening there, So actually church history basically is the history of the church in the West. Very little is written chronologically, about once that division happened between East and West. Well, the West-East is basically forgotten.
Uncle, what divides the East and West? It's a Mediterranean.
No. The East and West, the Constantine divided the Roman Empire for administrative purpose to two and gave it to two of his sons. One headquartered in Rome, the other headquartered in Constantinople. So there was the what later called the Byzantine part was in the east. All the others are from Rome and Italy, then coming to your Germany and France and Spain and all that, England and all that thing there. To this side come all the way to India, all these countries.
So today's Europe is Western Church?
Yes, it's a Western Church. Yeah. So for centuries, the Greek Orthodox Church had Arabs and Turks as neighbors. More Christians died for faith among the Greek. They say that the largest number of martyrs came from the Greek Orthodox Church because the Muslims killed them, basically. Yes. They sealed their faith by the blood of the martyrs. They are surrounded by Muslims, and these Muslims, of course, they persecuted Christians. The doctrine of Trinity was something the Muslims could not accept. Interestingly, the Orthodox Church, Greek Orthodox Church, believed or held on to the doctrine of Trinity so dearly, they would die for that. For them, that was the most important doctrine. They never had a question about that. So the doctrine of Trinity, more dearly than all, they are willing to die for Trinity. Christianity in its Greek Orthodox form was introduced to Russia by missionaries from Constantinople. It was the state religion before the Bolshevik revolution came, the communist revolution came. Orthodox Church was the official religion of Russia, It's called Russian Orthodox Church. In 1961, there was a World Council of Churches where? In New Delhi. And for the first time, the Greek Orthodox Church attended that. It was the first time for any ecumenical council where Western Church also came. The Greek Orthodox Church attended. So since that day, the Greek Orthodox Church got actively involved in the what we say the ecumenical movement of, including the Protestants. The Greek Orthodox are not Protestants, they are not Catholic, they are not Protestants. That's a different group, The Roman Catholic are the Western churches under the Bishop of Rome, who later was called Pope. But the Greek Orthodox Church was divided. They had the Antiochian, they had the Constantinopolitan, then they have the Coptic Orthodox Church in Egypt. They had the Russian Orthodox Church, and of course we were under the Antiochian Church in India. Now of course we have our own chair here in Kottayam. They found the Puzzle Thomas chair, so very interesting developments. Yes. So basically we don't want to talk more about them. That basically they're the Greek Orthodox Church there, and their worship system is. How many of you came from the Greek Orthodox background? Nobody here? You came. Okay, very good. Yeah. If you really wanted to know what is the traditional worship, you have to go to a Greek Orthodox Church. And many honestly think that was the way the first century Christians worshipped probably, or second, third century Christians worshipped. The Orthodox Church did not undergo very much reformation. There was no reformation there. They were hanging on the traditions. So it's very interesting. You can sit down with an Orthodox person and he will open up and start about the traditions. How Apostle Peter and this and that and all these things, and they believe all those things. And of course, what all they say may have some truth, but theologically it has no meaning. So they wanted to say that, okay, Peter was the founder of the Orthodox Church, and well, what difference it makes? Peter founded, Paul founded, or Thomas founded. The church at Corinth was founded by Paul. Does it make church at Corinth any more unique than the other churches? No, it doesn't. So, for those who understand the truth, all those traditions have no meaning. It is something that you wanted to boast about tradition. That's why Paul said that don't talk about these genealogies and traditions and all that. Meaningless, but yet they do that. Orthodox people, Yeah. They look different than the Pope and the Roman Catholic priest and all that. I never understood why they wear the black robe. That's only one question I never got answered. In the night all procession take place and they have these black and you don't even see them. With their beard and black cap and black robe and all that, At least the Roman Catholic you can see it's all white, And I ask people, why they wear the black, I don't know. In the Bible there is, there's no significance for black. Red is of course the symbol of sin. Even if your sin is red like crimson and all that, sin is never compared to black. Sin is always compared to red. So, if they are confessing we are sinners, they should put on the red. Black is a sign, a symbol of sorrow and all that. So that's not what they will. Anyway, so we wanted to talk to from 1500 to the present, how the church has been going. Number one, The growth pattern of the church, from AD 100 to 400, it had a good pattern, a biblical pattern. From AD 100 to 400 AD, the church was growing according to the patterns that we find in the New Testament. People will go to a place, they will preach the gospel, people will get accept Christ, they will be baptized, then there formation of a church, people will be discipled, and teaching, preaching and all, elders will be appointed for them, weekly breaking bread and all those things. That is the biblical pattern. That pattern continued until we will say from Pentecost to Augustine. It is. During this period, the church conquered the civilized heathen Roman Empire around the Mediterranean Sea. Basically all that places, the Asia Minor and all those places, Turkey and Lebanon and Syria and all those countries became Christian countries. They were all Christian countries. The second growth pattern we see from 500 to 1000 AD. In this period, the church conquered the new civilized heathen nations of Europe. However, in this period, the church also lost, the biblical pattern. That's since the conversion of basically Constantine. Of course, it was 325, but the changes, did not come immediately, things lingering, but by the time it was 500, completely changed. Bible was set aside, and they have introduced things that are not in the Bible, and so completely the biblical pattern was completely lost. A new pattern emerged, and that pattern was made by men, basically the so-called bishops or the emperor they have made. But however, in this time they have gained a lot of territory, but they lost much of the territory to the Muslims. Yes. Islam advanced all the way to Spain, the Soviet church, the famous, that's where, of course, their advancement was stopped, and by God's grace, the whole Europe did not go under Muslims. After 1000, much territory was lost to Turkish Muslims. From 1000 to 1500, the church made no conquest. To the west by the Atlantic Ocean, to the south and east, it was Islam. On the western side, it's Atlantic Ocean. They couldn't go any further there. And to the south and east, it's completely Islam. So church didn't gain any territory until 1500. It was stagnant. The exploration of new areas began to come from 1500 onwards, when the Portuguese and the Spaniards made voyages, and they wanted to gain new territories for their political and economic advancement. But unlike any other people, the Spaniards and the Portuguese had a habit, wherever their soldiers went, the ship also carried priests. Conversion went side by side with conquest. These Protestants didn't do it.
They carried the priests along for some fear of storms?
No, it's not the fear. It is to convert the people. When they go, and Portuguese came to Goa, very soon all Goans, as much as they could, Catholics. Wherever they went, they make them Catholics. The priest will come, the bishop will come, there will be, that's compulsory, their pattern is like that. But the English, East India Company, the English went, they never allowed any missionary to go along with. No, when William Carey came to India, they opposed, the East India Company opposed. They said that if you convert people, it's going to be against our business interest. So they didn't want it, William Carey, But they needed William Carey, so they appointed him their language man to translate the Hindi books to the English language and all that. They needed him. That's the only reason they cooperated. Otherwise, they wanted to send him back. So that was the difference. So British ruled India for how many years? 400 some years, you know. The British ruled some 400 years, yes. They didn't convert anybody. Some here and there. When they left, the population of India was, Christians was about 2%. Think of that. But if it was the Portuguese, half of the population would be Roman Catholics, wherever they went. That's the way they worked, you know. They will use every method. The gun will be going ahead, the priest will be, you know, coming behind, and that sort of thing. So the Spaniards and the Portuguese made voyages. They were very good in the you know, voyage by ship. And then the Jesuits, especially Ignatius of Loyola, encouraged the Roman Catholics to send missionaries to these nations. Francis Xavier became a great missionary who came to Goa, Japan and China. And you know what Francis Xavier has done. The whole around the Arabian Sea, the whole fisherman community was completely converted, basically. The Paravas, you know, the whole Paravas, and in Kerala also the whole, you know, fisherman community was completely converted by Francis Xavier. And then he went to Japan and he went to China.
This conversion was what kind of conversion? Was it forced conversion?
Yeah, it was forced conversion, yes. You know, it was not all forced. The force comes only when you don't accept it, you know. That's the way it is.
How did so many people just accept?
Oh, because they offered them benefits. They will offer them benefits, you know. The fisherman community, you know, they're so miserable and pathetic. They will give you land, give you boats, give you nets. We'll start school for your children. All that you have to do is come to Sunday there, you know, get their mamodisa, the sprinkling of, and, you know, they taught them the 10 Commandments, the Lord's Prayer, and a few things that's all they taught them. And, you know, you have to fight. Mother Mary will protect you when you go out too. And they used methods, you know, the history says they have done things that made them, like in Goa, you go even now to Goa and talk with people, they will say that the Portuguese will come. They had two methods, you know, I'm ashamed to say that. One method is that the Portuguese soldiers accept a lot of ladies from the natives. Lot of ladies were accepted and they fathered children. Then they will give them hundreds of acres of land. Okay? So this has brought so many families because this offer of land and all that. And also it improved also, you know, what you call the breed a little better, you know. They look better and, you know, and all that. That's one method they have used. The other method is they will use force, you know, plain force. Like they said that, you know, they will go to a, you know, Brahmin home and with the 5 kilos of beef sometimes, they will throw the beef right into the living room of the Brahmin. You know, the house is now unholy. No Hindu will associate with them. They are automatically excommunicated. Say, no problem, come with us. You know, we will train you for priesthood and all that. So they have one example I said there. You know, this is a story, so people will say that. So they have used methods like this. Then they had persecution chambers in Goa. Some of the monasteries at the basement, they had persecution chambers. They will catch other Christians like the Orthodox people and all. They will bring there. Even from Kerala, thousands of Orthodox people were brought there to persecute for conversion. They refuse to convert. Then they will make them convert.
Orthodox to Roman Catholic?
Yeah, yes. Then of course the famous Kolkata is there, you know. You know, never heard about them? This is in their history, church history. Kolkata, you know what Kolkata is? They invite all the, you know, important people from the Orthodox churches for dinner. You know, one of the items was Kolkata. So they opened the Kolkata, there is a gold sovereign inside. Ooh, said we joined. That's written in actually Father Kudapada's, church history, written by they removed all that in the second newest edition. They have withdrawn it because that contains so much truth, which made the Roman Catholics very uncomfortable. Because people like us, we read it and we then, take the quotations and publish it and all that, that sort of them. But this is the fact. So they have used many methods for conversions. The Dutch were the only people, actually, the Protestants, who did a lot of mission work. Wherever the Dutch gone, they encouraged the missionaries to come after them. So the Dutch were in India only for a very short time. Like in Cochin, the Dutch were there for a short time and a lot of people were converted, but not by force, by preaching the gospel. They were Protestants, Reformed faith, so they preached the gospel. But the force has no meaning there. So their movement was used like that. Ignatius of Loyola, he was famous for the Jesuit fathers, and they started many schools and colleges and all. Even in India, the Jesuit schools are very famous, Saint Saviour's and so many famous schools all over Kerala and all Tamil Nadu, the Loyola College, and here in Bombay also, there are some famous colleges are there. So the Jesuits were very good. And those days, of course, people were given admission, not only admission, and there, other help also. The whole Philippines were converted to Roman Catholicism. Then they went into South Central America, Mexico, and all South America is basically Roman Catholics. So wherever they went, they conquered them. They converted them. The French Jesuits, for example, went into Quebec, Canada. They have converted a lot of the whole Quebec is, Catholic. And so wherever they went, they have done a great job of conversion. Then the Protestants also spread the gospel. The Pietists under Auguste Franque came to India, in 1750. He was here from 1750 to 1798. The Moravian missionaries also came to India, 1732. To the present, the Moravians converts are there. And William Carey, 1761 to 1834, came to India. 1792 organized the First Baptist Missionary Society, and in 1793, William Carey and his family came to India. He is called the father of modern missions. He was opposed to in the beginning by the East India Company. However, his greatest contribution is what? Translated Bible in 26 languages. Some of them fully, some of them partly. Of course, he was not the only one. He had a group of people to help him, but he was a genius when it came to language, Yes. 26 language. The Marathi Bible is translated by William Carey, So he has done so much. Pandit Ramabai was a woman who was working among, women and their upliftment and all. Of course, William Carey was always helped by local linguistic pandits, that's where translation will go. The Malayalam Bible, of course, was translated by Gundat and Bailey. But again, they had pandits to help them. But they did not take the Hindu pandits, they only taken the Christian pandits. For that reason, you can see the difference. Wherever the Hindus helped, the word Parameshwar, Ishwar is used. And, like Hindi Bible and all, Ishwar, Parameshwar. But that word is not used in the Marathi Bible, I am told that. Parameshwar and Ishwar was not there. That there is this Devan or something, It's a different. In Malayalam there is no Parameshwar, it's always only Devam. So who helps, they put their concept also into it. It's, in a sense it's sad, but that's the way it happens. Yes. Today the entire world is basically reached by mission. There is not a single country where mission work has not started. There are countries where not a single Christian is there, but there is not a single country where Christianity has not gone or missionaries have not gone. Yes. That way the whole world, but not every ethnic group is reached. Yes. What may have caused the failure of missions? They say that missions failed in the sense that, the Great Commission is what? What is the Great Commission? What is the main job? Make disciples. It is not preaching the gospel. It is not baptizing. They are only the means. The job is making disciples. And when you take that one, how many people are really made disciples? A lot of people are led to the Lord and baptized and they are put in the church. But how many people are made disciples? Very few. So for this reason, generally said that the mission is a failure. Because the job the Lord gave is to make disciples. Somehow, as the days gone by, the emphasis was moved from making disciples simply to preaching the gospel. So some people major on preaching. Tract distribution, tract societies, this society, that society. Some people on teaching, Bible society, Bible colleges, seminaries, and etc., etc., and etc. Some on baptism. They give the number of people that he baptized, that sort of thing, But none of this is, they are all means. They are good. But if it is only means, and the end is not accomplished, the end is making disciples. You just take a survey, how many here sitting have been personally discipled by somebody? Probably the answer is nobody. And even such a necessity nobody feels. And there is nobody to disciple, because that breed of things have gone away. It's an extinct species. By chance, if you find a disciple, catch him, put him in a glass cage or something, because let the people see that once upon a time there were a species of people called the disciples. It's not there. So we are all really, halfway Christians. In lifestyle we are Hindus. In faith we are Christians. That's what. So basically, on a Hindu body, the Christian head is transplanted. Thinking, that one. But Christianity is not supposed to be a way of faith. It is supposed to be a way of life. Faith is the beginning. Christianity is a way of life. Look at Islam. What is wrong or what is good. You travel all over the world, all Muslims will live alike. They pray alike, they dress alike and everything, they eat alike and everything. Islam is a way of life. Hinduism is a way of life. Buddhism is a way of life. Jainism is a way of life. But Christianity is supposed to be a way of life. It ceased to be a way of life. It simply is a way of belief. Certain fundamentals of faith you believe. You want to live the way you want. You can live like a Muslim or you can live like a Hindu. You can do everything. So there is no difference between a Christian and a Hindu in the office. By looking at you cannot say, but you can always say the difference between a Muslim, right? You never have to ask a person and find out whether he is a Muslim or a Hindu. No, by look you can know that. Yeah, that's a Muslim lady, that's a Muslim man. The Jain also you can know that. Basically the Buddhist also you can know that. But a Christian you cannot know that. That's one of the fundamental reasons for the failure of Christian mission work. They simply communicated the faith. They did not give people a way of life. When you read through the book of Acts, you can just see that Christianity is a way of life. Even in the beginning chapters, you can see that they have developed a particular way of life, a community life, a way of living together, sharing together, and everything they were. But that changed with Constantine coming in. In the first 400 years, it was a way of life. But then it changed. What happened? Paganism was baptized, Christianized, and Christianity was paganized. So we are here. We claim ourselves Christian. But here in India, people ask, what is Christianity? Oh, Christianity, yeah, dancing, eating beef, drinking booze. Isn't that Christianity is? So the impression people get when we go out, what is it? So if I become a Christian, I have to put on, all these things and then dance, mixed dances, and I have to go to bar and I have to drink and I have to, all these things, they immediately identify Christianity with that one. Why?